Hey all, this is Angel 1 again, just going through the couple videos that I wanted to make tonight to post to YouTube. Honestly, once again, I am wearing a Marine Corps shirt. I am not affiliated with the Marine Corps in any way. I haven't been for at least 2 years, so I just want to make that perfectly clear. I'm honestly sure that the last video I did about cuties, just like this one, is probably going to draw some serious censorship from YouTube. I just want to make this perfectly clear to YouTube that when they do try to censor this, that I will absolutely threaten to sue you and do have the means to do so if it comes to it for freedom of speech, freedom of press violations. Feel free to try me. It's just not going to go your way, but when you actually do put the video back up, I will give you the credit where credit's due. So, on to the second video here. The second video here has to do with Black Lives Matter and Antifa, the communist movements and the domestic terrorist organizations. It's pretty much the same thing. And how I believe, and I'm going to use some facts here, just a timeline of events here to kind of explain this and to kind of show you why I think this is. And it's to, I believe that civil war inside the United States is going to happen in my lifetime. My guess from this is September 14th, 2020. October, November, December, January, February. 4 to 5 months for this to kick off. At most. Why do I think this? Is probably what some of you are asking. Well, I'm going to go through a timeline of events to tell you why that I think this. And to why that I think that there is one way to prevent this, but I honestly think it might be too late. So, the political landscape, if you're not familiar with it, if I've got any viewers or anything outside the United States, you need to know this. The political landscape inside the United States is heavily divided right now. It's divided between basically the Democrats and the Republicans. And I would say that there's probably about 5 or 6 different groups in each of those that are all divided from the rest. We're currently all in a state of division, but there is some unity. But the problem is where the unity lies. There's 2 main groups right now. You've got the communist movement known as the Democrat Party, and then you've got the conservative movement. The Republicans, honestly, are just kind of in the middle and just more or less, unfortunately, in the way, because they just really are. The Republicans themselves haven't done anything for at least the last 20 years as a political party until Trump. They just haven't. They've been kind of spineless buffoons just kind of sitting there drawing a paycheck. They need to go. But if not, they're part of the problem. Is the part they enable as opposed to much of anything. They don't resist. They don't give pushback. Now, a few of them do. Don't get me wrong. That's not everybody. But the one problem that the conservative movements, I am a constitutional conservative. I believe in the Bill of Rights, the U.S. Constitutions. I'm willing to fight and die for that belief again and over. I swore an oath to support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and bear true faith and allegiance to the same. I did it. I served 10 years in the Marine Corps, and let's just say the earth doesn't have an expiration date. But to kind of go back to my point here of where we're divided along political lines right now under the disguise of what's being called social justice. I think that's the term that they're using today. It's changed about 3 times in the last 3 hours. But social justice, racial justice, and that's generally the idea right now is what they're trying to do, is divide us along those lines. And how they're doing it is they're making martyrs. I mean, everything that Antifa, that Black Lives Matter, that the Democrat Party is doing, and how they're doing the device, how they're inciting violence, how they're engaging the police, how they're defunding the police, what they're causing them to do, what the police departments are currently doing with the massive downsizing for the amount of people that are just leaving because it's just, you can't do your job, the regulations they're putting on them. This is straight out of the Communist Manifesto. I mean, this happened in Nazi Germany. This happened in the Soviet Union during the Bolshevik Revolution. This happened in Venezuela. This happened in Cuba. This happened in China, I'm sure. I mean, China was in civil war for 20 years or something like that. This happened in Vietnam. This happened in North Korea. This situation that we're all saying is brand new, we've never seen it before. Oh yeah, we've seen it before. We've seen it quite a few times throughout the last 200 years. And this is all written down specifically in order almost of how you take over a country via the Communist Manifesto. That's what Black Lives Matter stands for. That Black Lives Matter, Antifa, are communist organizations. And they are terrorist organizations. And they need to be stopped immediately. But yet, they're being funded. They're being funded by the Democrat Party via George Soros. They have a convicted, Black Lives Matter has a convicted terrorist in their collections department. And this is public information. That story's been out a few months. More or less, you won't find it in CNN or MSNBC, but the story's out there. It exists. By all means, I encourage you to look it up. So that being said, let's get back to why I think that we're going to be in a civil war here within the next 4 to 5 months, and why you should be taking preparations now. For a civil war to not happen, here's what needs to happen to basically prevent it, and you need to shut this down. The last hope to avoid an all-out bloodbath, which I'll get into why Antifa and BLM are going to absolutely get it handed to them as well, but it just won't be pretty. The last hope, unless something else major changes here in the next 2 months, is the presidential election. If Trump, first and foremost, I am going to vote for Trump. I am going to vote for him, period. I can't vote for Biden. Can't vote for sleepy Uncle Joe, who needs to be prosecuted for quite a few crimes. But I can't do that. I just cannot vote for Biden. Hell no. But for any type of civil war that is being predicted even now by even the conservative media out here, they all see it coming. If first and foremost, Trump has to win the election. It's a must-win scenario, or it's going to be a bloodbath. And I honestly do think that he will win, but I don't think that's enough. For Trump, for this whole movement and this whole idea to be completely squashed, and this is why I think this is borderline unavoidable at this point. Trump must win a supermajority in the Electoral College. The Electoral College, I think, goes to 574 votes. So a majority is 270. You get 270 electoral votes in the Electoral College, you win the presidential election. This does not necessarily reflect the popular vote, for those of you that don't know how the American Electoral College system works. It is entirely possible to completely get destroyed in the popular vote, but still win the Electoral College. It is. So, popular vote does not matter. It does, but it does not matter in the actual vote of the Electoral College. So, for Trump to win, for this to be squashed immediately, Trump has to win a huge majority in the Electoral College. I'm talking 380 electoral votes or more majority, which I don't think has ever been done. Since we've had this number, I don't think it's ever been done. I'll have to go look, but I don't think anyone's won anything over 320, ever. It needs to be an absolute blowout. Now here's the thing, but to do that, you have to win a good majority. You'd have to seriously dominate the popular vote too. For a Republican president, though, a Republican candidate in the Electoral College system in the United States, the last president that was a Republican that won the popular vote with the Electoral College was George Bush Sr. That was in 1989. That was the last time it was done. George Bush Jr. did not win the popular vote either time that he won the presidency. Trump did not win the popular vote. That tells me that people like me, that constitutional conservatives as a whole, are in the majority. And that should scare the holy crap out of everybody. That should scare the crap out of the world. Because if we go, a lot of you are going with us. This is going to have to end part 1. And I'm going to go into part 2 here in just a second.